She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm really confident that today you're going to get so inspired. Have you ever messed your life up so bad that it seemed like it was beyond repair? Have you ever been there? I know I have, but we are about to talk to somebody that definitely rivals my jacked upness and mistakes that I've made in my past. But my goodness, this man has overcome. So I know you're going to be so inspired. When you hear what has happened in his life, you're going to go, okay, anything is possible. Absolutely anything. Here on the Dani Johnson Show, every single day, we are always bringing you inspiration and content, as well as skill development, strategies, new processes and methods where you can design the successful life you want. Not the life that society says success is, but I'm talking about a life of freedom emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. That you will prosper greatly in what you do, that you will decide and define how you want to live your life out, not according to anybody else's rules, but yours, according to how you were made, according to the destiny that which is calling out of you. That is what we bring you every single day to challenge you in that direction, so that you can come away from the masses and do what your maker created you to do. So today joining me is Rogelio from from Carlsbad, California. He's actually Rogelio Del Rio. What a great name. That's like sounds like a famous person's name. Rogelio, I am so excited to have you with us.
Thank you.
Your story is amazing and unrivaled. Absolutely unrivaled. Okay, so prior to hearing about DaniJohnson.com, give us a little picture of what was going on in your life.
Prior to Dani, I had I was just living. I picked up some really bad habits growing up in LA, and I've pretty much lived my whole life just medicating myself. I used every single drug imagined, and along with that, I was growing a family. I had a couple of few children. I have 5 kids, and I was just, I don't know how to be a dad. I was working, and because I thought that's what I thought I should do, and just got myself really messed up in the drug scene, just living a life of just the waste of the world, pretty much, and ended up I ended up in prison behind drug charges and a few other things that they had escalated to that point. And I started using drugs when I was 15. First time that I was introduced to cocaine, and then my whole life just changed from there.
Wow.
I just kept on using. It went from one day. I remember it was a Friday, and I didn't stop using until like I was 31.
Wow.
And it was a daily thing that just continued to go, and yes. So I remember exactly the day it happened, and it's around that time of my life, I had a scholarship to go to USC, and all I had to do was to just finish 2 more years of high school, and I would be accepted for a full ride for 4 years, $100,000 scholarship to go to USC, and I remember that day I tried that drug. That night, everything just went out the door.
Wow.
I grew up with my family. My dad. I grew up in a family that was emotionally disconnected. I never hugged my dad. I don't. Um, I think it was like until a few years ago that I really gave my dad a hug for the first time, and I'm 38.
Wow.
And mom and dad were just like, it was a home where you get up, you go to work, you take care of your family, and take care of your business. So there was no emotional connection there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know where to go. I remember one day I asked Dad. I said, "Hey, Dad, what do I do?" I'm like, "I don't know what to do." I was 16. He's like, "Well, go figure it out." And my figuring out got me really jacked up. I remember I barely graduated high school, and then I went back to high school to go see a teacher, and as I'm going down the hallway to this high school in LA. There's these two Marines, and they're walking up to me, and they're like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "You want to be a Marine?" I was like, "Can you get me out of LA?" And they're like, "We'll get you out of LA." I'm like, "Well, where do I sign up?" And I was in a bus to go to the Marine Corps within a month or 2 months, and I, I was doing really good. I picked up meritorious PFC boot camp for over excelling. I was one of the worst recruits, and I ended up being a squad leader at the end of the course.
Wow.
And then I went to School of Infantry, picked up meritorious Lance Corporal for being the number 2 out of 3,000 Marines. And then I relapsed again. I went back to LA, and I didn't know what to do. All I knew what to do was what I knew to do, and it was hang out with some people that just got me messed up. So that ended up me taking me into my late 20s, and I picked up right after I got an other than honorable discharge from the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And because my company commander, my company staff sergeant, everybody wrote letters asking for me not to get removed because I was they wanted me to stay. However, what I did was just way beyond being fixed.
What did you do?
I I end up going back to LA, and I used drugs. So I went missing for like a week.
Ooh.
And when I came back, they drug tested me, and I said, "You know what, guys? I'm dirty. I went and I used, and that got me into. I ended up getting locked up a couple of times for just by then I was like, I just didn't care anymore. I was like, I'm already in trouble, so let me show you what I can really do. And they locked me up twice, and I got out of. They discharged me, and within a month, I'm in prison, sitting in a cell, um, just looking around, and I'm like, how did I get myself in here?
Yep.
And
You know
my
what,
parents,
Rogelio, so many people go through that. And sometimes it doesn't take a prison cell to bring us there, but it takes something tragic that happens in our life in order for that to happen. And so for some people, it's like losing all their money, it's losing a job. But you come to that place where you say, how the heck did I end up here? What did I do? Like, how did I get on this path that brought me to this stinking place? I had a question for you. You said that you had offered to you that if you finished your last 2 years of high school out with, obviously, was it grades? Was it athletics? How did you get that offer for that scholarship for USC?
so I grew up in South Central LA, and it's a very, very low percentage of kids that end up even graduating high school. So they will handpick a certain amount of kids to be part of this program. and you needed to have your teachers personally refer you without you even knowing to be part of this program. And I later learned that out of 6 teachers, 4 of them had handpicked me to be part of this program. And it was, they weren't just looking for academics. They wanted to see, they wanted just kids that were different. And I guess they saw something different in me
and so because of the drugs, because you got involved in the drugs, that killed that opportunity when you were 16. And then that cycled, right? So this created a cycle well into adulthood and well into even having 5 kids, being married, and I had read that when prior to coming to DaniJohnson.com, you were involved in an affair, you had 5 children, you were smoking pot all day, popping pills, then your wife left you, and then within a couple of weeks she's already sleeping with someone else. I mean, just hearing these minutes of your story of, growing up in LA, having no emotional connection with your parents, to having opportunity handed to you, and the thing that robbed that opportunity was the choice to do drugs. And, the old adage of don't do drugs, like say no to drugs. I mean, I'm sure looking back, you'd be like, man, because that was the first door opener, right? That was the first step in the direction that then set you up for like 20 years. Yeah, almost 20 years of your life that was robbed between prison, affairs, drugs, pills, cocaine, going broke, having crazy amounts of debt, and then, being in a prison cell going, how did I end up here? Now, if you're listening for the first time, I mean, Rogelio's story is so powerful, and you haven't even heard the flip side of the story, the other side of the story, that when we see that people have walked this walk, this journey that he has walked, we may have somebody in our life that has walked that walk. Maybe you are married to somebody that has walked this walk. When you hear the other side of his story, you're going to be shocked as the transformation that has happened because of new choices, a God that heals, information that gives direction, training and development that helps to change the finances and the heart, the mind, and the skills. I don't know where you're at right now in your life, but if it's bad, get ready. It's about to get good. We'll continue with more right after this.
Rogelio's life was a mess, no question, but the most dramatic part is what happened next. Listen to the rest of his story on The Dani Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Have you ever been around somebody that made the choice to say yes to drugs when they were in high school and then have their life completely spin out of control, ending up with 5 kids, a lot of debt, several affairs on both sides of the family? Cocaine, weed, pills. One pill after another, one bad mistake after another. Prison. It's kind of that point that a lot of people write other people off, which is pretty sad. But there is one that doesn't write that person off. And that is our true Father, who sticks with us no matter how bad of a mess we make. Joining me right now is Rogelio Del Rio from Carlsbad, California, a faithful client of Destiny Global, DaniJohnson.com, a graduate of First Steps to Success, our 3-day training seminar. The next one's coming up in San Diego, California, right in his old stomping grounds. So, Rogelio, what happened after you came to First Steps to Success?
After I came to First Step to Success, I remember sitting down, and there was just this overwhelming presence that I was able to experience for the first time in my life, and I just started weeping. Like uncontrollably. It was just like, and I was getting a little choked up because I remember sitting there and I just felt like I was tired. I was done. I had just seen my kids drive off with somebody else. And I'm just like, I just started to get to know this relationship with my Heavenly Father, and I'm like, what do I do? I can't see you, but I know you're here. And I'm like, what do I do? And then I heard people hearing say, like, you gotta have faith, man. Like, what does that mean? Like, what is faith? Like, all I know how to do is like, I need to fix this. I gotta take care of this. Like, this is the only way to get myself out of this is, but I need to work on this. I'm like, what do I do? And I kept on just stuff was coming out. Like, and I was like, I'm embarrassed because I've never cried in front of people. And I'm like, here's this whole bunch of people like thinking like, what's wrong with this guy? And I'm just like, I need help. Yeah. I really need help. Yes. I need help. And that was the beginning. What happened next was that I started getting put in situations where First Steps gave me a foundation, and that foundation came from having that relationship with my Heavenly Father. Yes. And it was a ground where I could stand, and I felt like I could look into the horizon, and I felt like I could do this. And I just kept taking steps. I kept following directions that you provided me, and I was like, I'll follow this. And I would take it, put it in my pocket, and then I would go out and apply it right away. I had to do it. I remember I would just take it and start applying the principles. Do this, and I'm like, I'm out there listening. I mean, I've never done this before. I'm gonna go do it. It was a super, I want to say, a spiritual conversation that would happen. It just happened. There was no format. All I knew that it was like by being there, having heard what you had said, what you shared, and what it did to me. I was equipped with something that I would have never been able to experience anywhere else. So I had just I was sleeping. I had just been sleeping on my truck, and by now I'm actually staying in somebody's garage.
Wow. Wow. So you were homeless when you came to First Steps to Success the first time?
Yes, I was sleeping in my truck.
Wow. Okay, hold on a second. That's just crazy. That is crazy. So here's a homeless guy coming to a seminar that is being delivered by a former homeless woman, and he hears some simple strategies that he's not even sure if he can apply. Wait till you hear what happened to his finances, his debt, and his love life. We'll continue with more here shortly. If you know anyone that needs some inspiration today, please send out this link right now. Please share this link on social media, because this is going to blow everybody's mind. We'll continue after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
So I just want to give you a little bit of my story. This is my first time sharing my story on stage, so I'm a little nervous. But I'm excited. I was just asked, seriously 3 minutes ago to share my story. So we'll see how this goes. So my name, like Ray said, my name's Carradine Roundy. I am from Wyoming. Is there anyone else from Wyoming here? Yeah! I was thinking, I think I'm the only one that I've met from Wyoming. That's cool. I'm glad. So prior to plugging into Dani Johnson and First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely drowning in debt. We got this new job and we increased our income, so we increased our way of living, which is what happens. And we were young, we were just married, and we completely bought more than we needed. We bought a new house, we already had a truck loan, we bought a new car, we lived to the max. And our marriage started to struggle, and we got to where all of our fights were about money constantly. And my husband had a really good job, so we had plenty of money. That was not the issue. It was that we never kept any of it. We spent it on stuff we didn't need. So just a little bit of background. It's just my husband and I, we have no kids, and we bought a 6-bedroom house. I know. Well, that's just, we had the money. The bank told us we had the money we could, so we did. And so obviously we spent the money to fill those rooms in that house on stuff we didn't need. So anyways, our marriage was failing. I mean, we were young, we just got married, and all of our fights were over stupid stuff that was unnecessary. And so I remember one time, just like a quick little look into what it was like. I remember one time sitting in front of our fireplace, our nice fireplace in our nice house, and we were fighting over how we were going to pay for Christmas for our families. And that was the eye-opener for us, that something had to change. And so we made a decision, and I started a business, and that's what actually opened me up to DaniJohnson.com and to First Steps to Success. And so after coming out of First Steps to Success, we have now been able to pay off, this is crazy, we have now been able to pay off just over $300,000. Which is completely crazy because we just thought debt was something that you live with. You know, you're always going to have a mortgage. You're always going to have a house payment, you know, car payments. That's just the way life goes. And little did we know that that's not the case. So we now live in a smaller house. We love it. We actually, I have less house to clean, which I'm good with. And we live so much more simple, and our marriage is completely turned around. We no longer fight about money. We wonder where we're gonna invest into next and how soon we're gonna get, you know, the mortgage paid off, and that's exciting to us. So everything's just completely changed. And, you know, the relationships that we've been able to grow with other people that are wondering what we're doing, that's been amazing because we've met so many great people, and learning what Dani's going to teach this afternoon has helped us grow to being people more than anything. And that, like, we hated people before, both of us. Like, we never had those skills. And so I'm really excited for this afternoon. This afternoon's going to be completely transforming to you. As far as being, like she mentioned this morning, you know, like, your business is people, your business isn't your product. And so with that being said, I just want to have you help me welcome back my mentor and America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
So what is success? A big house? A big title? A big fat paycheck? Dani Johnson has had them all, and you need to hear what she discovered when she had them. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So no matter how bad the mistakes are you've made in your past, you and I have made a lot of them, right? Doesn't matter. You're going to have to forget the former things because a new thing is springing up right beneath your feet. And there's a rescuer that has come to rescue you from the pit in which you are sitting in right now. Joining me, Rogelio Del Rio from Carlsbad, California, a former drug addict, a homeless man who had 5 children, had affairs, did time in prison, wife left him. Within a couple weeks, she's sleeping with someone else. Disaster after disaster. As a homeless man hears about First Steps to Success, sleeping in his truck as he's attending this 3-day event. Wait till you hear what happens to his finances. Rogelio, tell us. You started to pay off debt. You started a business. What's gone on since?
Yeah, we right away I went in and started back up again the company that we had just previously lost, and I went back again and started right away, and I was able, since then I've been able to pay over $90,000 in debt up to this date. And
so is that in 2 years?
In 2 years.
In 2 years, you paid off $90,000 of the debt. You resurrected a dead company.
Correct. Yes.
In landscaping, right? So you're in the landscape industry. So you resurrect a dead business. You managed to make money with that, enough to pay off $90,000 worth of debt in 2 years. What happened to your income with resurrecting that dead business?
Income we started from what was then to what happened now. That business started generating, just bringing in different types of clients, just different people. And when I say about different, it was a different level of clients that were looking for more, for higher quality.
Yeah.
And this year we're close to bringing in sales over $800,000 in business just in this year alone. So from last year to this year, after following directions and starting to track and to keep numbers, last year I didn't know what we were doing. because I was just like, let's get to work and apply all this, and then I was like, not keeping track. But this year we started keeping track, and we realized that it's over $800,000 in sales.
Wow.
And my closing ratio it's about 25%.
Wow.
It's just like,
and now you've been traveling to First Steps in Creating a Dynasty and Hot Marriage Secrets. Every 4 to 6 weeks, you're involved in a brand new event. You've brought some of your team. You've brought your family. You're now married again, and you've got a 6th child on the way, or a 5th child on the way. Is it 6?
6 on the way, yeah.
6th child on the way, due here soon. Beautiful wife. Brandy is incredibly beautiful woman. You have such a beautiful family. I am so proud of you that you did not let homelessness and drugs and all the things from your past continue to rob you, but you surrendered yourself and you took a leap of faith. You humbled yourself before your God, and you received him, and then you received training and skill development, learning communication skills, marketing, sales, how to run a business, and then how to manage your finances, to the tune of paying off $90,000 worth of debt in 2 years and growing a business this year to $800,000. Give me a break. You in itself, I'm going to call you Lazarus because you were dead and your business was dead, and it has been resurrected by the love and the power of God and the community that he put you in. This community that I've watched you build tight relationships with, and how you've served so many people. It's really been an amazing transformation. I remember seeing you at your very first steps. I remember seeing you bawling your eyes out and being touched by the presence of God in a business, finance, and relationship seminar, which is always a big shock when I see God show up in a setting like that. So, Rogelio, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of the man that you are, the father that you are, the financial man, the businessman, the son of the living God that you are. This has been an incredible journey to see. And for anybody out there that has a son or a daughter or an uncle, a cousin, or even a parent that has walked your walk, who spent the largest portion of your life involved with drugs and or behind bars and not making money and dealing with homelessness, you gave me hope today, and I believe you've given everybody else hope to not judge, but to pray for, to love, to encourage, to be there, to be that safe place instead of outcasting this person, but instead, and not getting in their way. We're not supposed to enable this person. They need to deal with their consequences. And as you heard, he has dealt with his consequences. And in that, somebody directed him to a website, DaniJohnson.com, directed him to materials, directed him to First Steps to Success. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is forever grateful to that person who introduced him to First Steps to Success. No question in my mind that this is a life that has been ransomed because of a friend who reached out and said, dude, you got to check this out. Dude, you got to check this out. And persisted with Rogelio. And look at this brand new life that he is currently living today. What an amazing story. Thank you so much, Rogelio, for joining us. Thank you for everything that you shared. Thanks for having the courage and the humility to share those deep, deep parts of your story that ego says, I can't talk about that. No, I say humility says, talk about it, because we got to shout from the mountaintops of the goodness of our God. No question. So joining me next is going to be Trina Holden from Jacksonville, Alabama. Wait till you hear what has happened in her life as well. I mean, imagine having a marriage that just sucks, hating your father and him not really being so fond of you either, suffocating under debt, having 5 children also that you're just not connecting with, you're kind of running from. You're a workaholic woman and don't know how to fix any of it. That's exactly where Trina was. Joining me now is Trina Holden from Alabama. Trina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dani. It's an honor to be here with you.
I am so excited to talk to you because there's so many women that are in the same exact boat, but they don't even realize they are. So did you actually realize that you were avoiding your 5 children? Did you realize that your marriage was a mess? Did you realize that you had all this resentment and kind of, sort of hatred towards your dad, enough to not, be around him or hug him for 8 solid years? Did you realize that all of that toxicity was going on in your life?
I didn't. We deaden ourselves out with entertainment or just scrolling Facebook. And so, I mean, I knew I had time management problems. That's where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is the problem right here. And what I didn't realize is it was all this, down below here. So that was definitely what was going on there, was that I had no idea what my root problem was. And I definitely had no idea that it went so deep, because I was just numbing myself out.
What were you numbing yourself out with?
Being busy. Definitely, I was definitely a workaholic. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom homeschooling. So how does that work? Well, it just looks like being like super detached and getting the bare minimum done for schoolwork, and then just checking out on the computer with work, which most of it was not productive. Since I've learned time secrets, I've realized, okay, that there's a lot of busy work I was doing that wasn't even productive. So yeah, it was just work, just busy, just busy all the time, to not notice that I was failing in my highest priorities.
Wow. And so somebody introduced you to First Steps to Success in DaniJohnson.com. Who introduced you?
My friend Sarah. She was talking about it, and I had seen the change in her. She'd had incredible success business-wise, but I had known her long before that, and I had seen the change in her personally, and I wanted some of that.
What was the change? What change did you see in her?
Well, I saw that she was so she had a lot of success, but personally was struggling with the success and with the new role of leadership and all the people that she was leading and everything. And so, but I saw her get past that and just really step up as a leader. And I wanted that. Like I saw her confidence and her business success, and I wanted that. That's what drew me to First Steps was, I want to be successful as a leader.
So you knew that you didn't have a lot of confidence. So your life is just kind of spinning out of control, right? You think it's a time management issue. You're buried in your computer. You're doing the bare minimums to get by with homeschooling the kids, right? What was going on?
I looked good online. I had a successful blog online, and I looked good to the people who were following me there. But there was this constant guilt and shame here, because I wasn't doing for my own children and my husband and those closest to me what I talked about doing for other people.
Right. And that's so interesting, because so oftentimes both men and women both do this, where we find more fulfillment in our work than we do as being a wife or a mother. And so, we get more recognition in our work. You know what I mean? We're accomplishing something in our work. You don't feel like you're accomplishing when you're changing diapers. It's just like it's never ending. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue and hear about the success that's happened in Trina right after this.
Trina had it all the pressure, all the stress, and all the misery one mom could handle. When we come back, listen to the simple change Trina made that changed everything. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
Change your habits, change your future. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So Trina, you are a workaholic, you got 5 kids, you're homeschooling, you look good on the outside to everybody else, but on the inside, everything's a mess. You come out to First Steps to Success, and what happened? Like, how did you figure out that everything was a mess?
Oh my gosh. First session, Dani. First session realized that my root fear was that I would ruin my children. And so I was, despite my goal to spend more time with them, I was sabotaging myself. I was avoiding them because I believed that I would fail them. Yeah. So that was the conflict inside of me every day, every minute, was that as much as I knew it was supposed to look like this, I was running from that because I believed that I would ruin my children. And the first session dug way deeper. Like I said, way deeper. I thought my problem was time management when I arrived, and that's what I wrote down as what I wanted to get addressed. And it went way deeper to my fear of ruining my children.
I want to talk to you about that fear of ruining your children. How did that feel?
I've always wanted to have children. I have 5. We have another one on the way, and we're not done yet. Like, I wanted a lot of children, but I had seen so many children just leave their family of origin and never look back. And I was actually one of those children. So of course I had that fear in me, that I would put all this effort into raising these children and building relationship and equipping them for life. And then by the time they're 18 or 20 or 25, they would leave and want to have nothing to do with me or want nothing to do with the faith that I was trying to instill in them.
Yep. And that's a debilitating fear.
Whew, let me tell you about it.
Yeah. Because you kind of vacillate between controlling and avoiding.
Yeah.
Controlling and then avoiding. Controlling and then avoiding. And not connecting. Because you're afraid they're just going to stab you in the back and flip you off and run into some other, life that you hope that they hadn't. So first session, so we're talking like the first 3 hours of First Steps to Success, you uncover what had been holding you back and what had been tormenting you. Mm-hmm. What has happened from all the communication skills that you learned, as well as this, because this is important, right? Success is not an outside game, it's an inside game. And so you began to uncover the inside game and remove those obstacles and those fears and those things that were controlling your life. So what has happened in the marriage, with the kids, and with your finances since?
Well, it's been absolutely amazing. Again, something that you said on that first day, in that first session, challenging. Really, you encouraged us to give bread and wine to our enemies, whatever that looked like, figuratively or literally. Yeah. And I just really felt it in my heart that it was literally a call to action for me to give my father bread and wine. So,
which is a concept of forgiveness. It's I want to explain that, because we're like, what? I'm going to bring bread and wine to someone I hate? No, it's about forgiveness, because all of our fears are tied to unforgiveness. All of our excuses, all of our lack of motivation, lack of self-motivation, all of our lack of vision, like everything that is standing against us is completely tied. Our rebellion, all of it is tied to unforgiveness. And so in the last part of the first session at First Steps to Success, we walk people through a very powerful experience. And there was something I was talking about, which is an Arabic custom, which is called sulha. And what they do is that when someone has wronged them, even if it's like they murdered my father, to totally forgive means to release and to break bread and share a cup of wine together. And that just means that you owe me nothing. This is clean. When you break bread with somebody, it's a very intimate thing. You share a glass of wine with somebody, it's a very intimate thing. And it means that the past is the past and we're starting fresh from here. So your father was the one that you said that you needed to forgive.
Yeah.
And you did?
Yes. Well, at that point, when I realized, I should do this for my dad, I realized there was a hesitancy. Yeah. And that's when I started to pray and ask God to show me how to love my dad. Yeah. And as much as I had prayed for restoration between us, our relationship had burnt to ashes 8 years ago. And we both actually wanted to rebuild, but how do you rebuild from ashes? Like, I didn't know the next step, but I began to pray, Lord, show me how to love my dad. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge prayer, because I realized I hadn't wanted to love him because I feared further pain, further conflict, further rejection, further junk. Yeah. But I started to pray differently than I had before, and I started to pray to ask to be shown how to love him. Mm-hmm. And I started to look for a very practical way to give him bread and wine.
Wow. And so your relationship with your father today has been restored?
Yes. We shared bread and wine together on vacation.
You went on vacation with your dad?
Yes, with my mom and dad.
Wow.
My mom and I were on speaking terms, but again, we couldn't seem to go any deeper. We just stayed up here because down here we couldn't fix, Wow. And so we started working on the relationship when we got home from First Steps. And by June, we had warmed it up to the point where we invited them to go on vacation with us, and God moved mountains. They were able to join us, and we shared bread and wine together.
And so as a direct result of making these things right, dealing with some hard issues, understanding the inside game, your business has grown.
Oh, yeah.
What's happened in your business, and how fast has it happened?
Well, in 10 months since we first went to First Steps to Success, I've tripled my home-based business, my income there. I've reached 2 new levels in the company, and we have paid off $28,000 in debt. I am definitely working fewer hours. Wow. And I'm leaning into connection with my children instead of avoiding them.
Yes.
Real serious breakthroughs in that area. I get a lot more hugs. Yeah, I get my children verbalizing to me that they love me.
Wow.
And some of them hadn't done that before. All of this healing happened. And my marriage, which had just been very much, mundane, just maintaining, we loved each other, but we were just too busy to show it, has gone to hotter than the honeymoon, basically.
Which most people would think is completely impossive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't think it would ever get that good again.
Yeah, it's like a small little moment in time. After that, it's over, and you've learned some new skills. I know you guys are at Hot Marriage Secrets.
Ma'am.
So you can't come out of that without things being hotter than a honeymoon. That's the bottom line. So Trina, I am so very grateful that you had the courage to share some really deep rooted things. You know what I mean? Fears. Women, moms have all kinds of fears. I had that same fear too, that my kids would hate me. I really, really believed that they would hate me, and that they would turn on me, and that I would just be alone forever. And, I had to dig that root out of myself as well and get healed from some things from my past as well. And so I so identify with your story of avoiding and just feeling like you're going to screw them up and fail. So I'm really proud of you for stepping up and learning how to manage your time. You mentioned you're using Time Secrets, which is a program that was developed 21 years ago. Powerful, simple, a child can follow it. Simple, commonsensical system for being able to get more done with less time, to make more money in less time, which is exactly what Trina has done. She's tripled her income in less time. She's gotten more done in less time. She's having more loving from her husband and her kids. I don't know. All I know is anything is possible. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Put the Dani Johnson Show to work for you by advertising your product or service. The Dani Johnson Show has tens of thousands of listeners who are just like you. People who need what you're offering but just don't know it yet. Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on the Dani Johnson Show. To promote your products and services on the Dani Johnson Show, email John at DaniJohnson.com or call 866-760-8255.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities, and they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do with your life? Discover your own answer. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Well, friend, there you have it. If you've got fears, you don't have to stay there. If you're stuck financially, you don't have to stay there. If your time is spinning out of control, you don't have to stay there. And if you've messed up so bad, like Rogelio, as you heard that story earlier, to the point of being in prison. In fact, I know that this show is heard from prisons all over the country and actually even in other parts of the world. How do I know that? Because we've gotten letters from inmates from all over the world, literally all over the world. And so I know that Rogelio's story inspired you. If you're behind bars right now, you know that your life is not over. You will have your chance to live it out the way you desire. And I know that you might say, no, Dani, I've got a life sentence. You know what? People on the outside feel like they got a life sentence also. They've got a life sentence called debt that seems to suffocate them. They've got a life sentence called a marriage that is a mess and toxic and nasty or boring or okay or average, mundane. They've got a life sentence of kids that are brats and they don't know how to fix it. So no matter where you are in life, I promise you, right now, this season you're in, it's just a season. It's going to pass, good, bad, or indifferent. There are steps you can be taking to help everything get better. You know, talking to both of these guys, they had 5 kids with both of them with their 6th child on the way. How odd, right? Both Rogelio has 5 kids with his wife, a 6th one on the way. And Trina and her husband have 5 with their 6th one on the way. I know that both of them have used this program successfully. It's called Grooming the Next Generation for Success. Powerful. You want to reduce the stress in your home. You want to be able to get more done in the home. You want to be able to connect on a greater, deeper relationship with your kids. Some of you think you have a deep relationship with your kids, and you actually really don't. I've heard of people when they've gotten a hold of this, that they discovered that their son was suicidally depressed, and they did not even know their son was depressed, let alone suicidally depressed. So this is going to help you get inside of your kids' minds, understand what motivates them, how to be able to direct them and prepare them for a successful life, preparing them for the workforce. Even some of your kids might be an entrepreneur. You have no idea how to pull that out of them and release them into that entrepreneurial world. All the kids need a financial understanding. They're not getting that at school. They're learning some major bad habits from you. Come on, you know that's the truth. If you're in debt, you're teaching your kid how to be a slave. If you're buying things you shouldn't, you're teaching your kid how to be a slave and how to be a consumer freak. And so this Grooming the Next Generation for Success is going to show you how to lead your kids to be debt-free, to not become consumer geeks, but to be kids that become financially independent. They become the top people in the workforce. They get promoted quickly when they head into the workforce. You're also going to learn to discover what is inside of them that you're supposed to pull out of them and direct them on a path that they're going to succeed on. So if you think you know how to do that by yourself, well, that's what most people think. And unfortunately, 98% of the population ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65. Period. So that's what we're going to replicate if we don't come up with a different plan. So Grooming the Next Generation for Success is going to teach you how to train your kids for success instead of another kid being trained for mediocrity and failure and debt and emotional messes. So that's it for us today. God bless you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.